Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on this chilly, at least in my neck of the woods, chilly Tuesday morning as we kick off uh, another week in early January in the Midwest. Hope all is well with you folks out there. I have a great webinar here today. As usual, on Tuesday, we have the opportunity to spend some time with Coach Dave Pimper talking about Social Security claiming. He'll walk through the two or three or four top things that you need to know when you're talking to your clients about Social Security claiming. I think you'll find helpful uh, uh, almost any time that you have a conversation regarding Social Security. He'll also talk a little bit about some more detailed stuff regarding Social Security claiming and the opportunities to use those to bridge the introductory gap with some new clients and prospects, and also to help your current clients. So be a great webinar here today. We're going to kick it off with some what I like to call the IAMS commercials. We'll run through a couple things that we do here to help you grow your business and see if there's some things that catch your eye there. And then the coach will join us, and then we'll end up with a couple of polls, give you the opportunity to ask some questions. In fact, that opportunity is available to you throughout, and just by simply typing in your question, hitting send. So thank you all for joining us here this morning. I see a number of folks are still joining, which is just fine. Let's go ahead and get started here and talk about some of the things that we do here at IAMS to help you grow your business. And I know we always, this particular webinar seems to attract a lot of our regular producers, which is great, but we always have some newer folks on as well, and that's equally uh, great for everyone as well. So the new producer builders are a way during your first 180 days of being with IAMS that you can potentially grow your business more, or just choose an incentive, cash incentive, or travel incentive as in appreciation from IAMS for your joining the IAMS team and for your business. You could see there that some of those things wrap around radio. There's some Social Security seminar stuff that you might, so of particular interest to those of you on the webinar today, you might find some ways in your new producer builder so you can have us help you grow your business around Social Security, newfound Social Security expertise. What I would say in general about that as well is that if there's something on there that strikes your fancy, that's great. If you're already doing something, or you have an idea or a thought that you want to pursue, that you want to use your new producer bonus differently, we will certainly entertain that as well. The real goal there is to reward you for joining IAMS and potentially to help you even get the next shot of business into your firm. So if there's something you have in mind that you think would work better than any of those things there, let us know. We'd love to have the opportunity to work with you on that as well. IAMS Business Builders that you should all be aware of is the RPM program and marketing reimbursement. You can kind of see before you how they work. I think that a lot of times the referred producer program initially gets overlooked, and we've built IAMS on referrals over the last 35, 36 years now. It's been the main driver of our business for, I think, good reason, but it's only been about the last 10 or 12 that we've had the RPM program, which is designed to thank you and reward you financially for your referrals. And it's a pretty simple program. If you refer someone to us, a colleague, or someone that you think might be a good fit for what we do is in terms of products or trainings, incentives, things like that, and they decide to get appointed with us, we're going to send you a check for $50. Again, no big deal there. What gets overlooked a lot of times is that ongoing reward. And keep in mind that the ongoing reward to you doesn't affect your referee at all. They can, if they want to refer somebody later, they get the full benefit of the RPM program, and they get the full benefit of all of our programs here. There's nothing that they don't get because we're rewarding you that little extra bonus. RPM program is a great way to kind of build a little sub-agency group without having the trouble of training and the concern of chargebacks, and you just started getting checks on a quarterly basis, and some now on a monthly basis. We have some regular referrers that have built that to the point where we send their checks out monthly. So it's some of the bigger checks that we send out, and really easy program. Other than giving us a referral, you are not really required to do anything at all. If you decide that you want to do an introduction of that referral or have a conversation in conjunction with us to maybe give the opportunity for that referral to feel more welcomed here at IAMS initially, that's great as well, but that's not required at all. All it's really we ask of you is if you know somebody might be a good fit, give us a name and we'll take it from there if you'd like. So great program. Marketing reimbursement. When you do business with IAMS, money goes into your marketing reimbursement account. And when you spend money to grow your business, whether that's a lead generation or a software program that you want to use or whatever you're using to help further your business, we'll match your spend dollar for dollar. So it kind of doubles your marketing budget. For our folks that are regular producers, that's exactly what it does. I mean, they get enough money in their marketing reimbursement account to offset everything they do on the marketing side. So if that's something that you're interested in, simply call your either of those programs if you want to chat with your sales director and say, help me out with this, or here's a referral for you. That's the first best next step to make. Now, on the other hand, if you want to chat with me about any of that, you're certainly always welcome to call me. The number here, of course, as you all know, is 800-255-5055. Most of our business now, and this has been a fairly quick transition for us, is now via e-app. And the reason that I think that transition went so quickly, obviously, was some of the limitations and seeing people face-to-face during the pandemic. And we happened to introduce Firelight right at the beginning of that. We got it all set up. So the way that it's different here than what you mostly see if you, for instance, go to a carrier, most carriers use Firelight. That's their e-app solution. But when you access Firelight via IAMS, which is easy. You just go into the registration process, literally takes 2 or 3 minutes. Then all of the carriers that you do business with, you can do all through that one Firelight portal. And you might say, well, that's nice and convenient. Now I don't have to go to 6 websites with 6 different carriers, remember my sign-ons and all that, which is true. But there are some other benefits to that for you. And for instance, if you are doing one app or 2 apps on one client with 2 different carriers, you can do that all in one spot, and you can cut and paste that information from one app in Firelight to another app in Firelight. So that it'll save you a lot of time and effort because a lot of, as you know, a lot of that information is common, the names, birth dates, beneficiaries, all what have you, all that basic information. So you can do a cut and copy of that information across. That's probably what I see as the main benefit other than the single sign-on to all carriers, which is a nice benefit as well. If there's a way we can help you with that process, if you're not using e-apps, I would suggest you take a real close look at that. We'll probably look at, if you talk to your sales director and say, hey, I'm looking at doing an application here, and I've never used Firelight before, and I want to try it with IAMS, I wouldn't be surprised if they offered you a little extra cash for that first application via Firelight. So don't hesitate to give your sales director a call and look at that e-app process. What I find generally, well, a lot of times that I'm as resistant to technology and change and asking my clients to do something that's a little bit different as anybody. But I think what you'll find, and this is what I find, is that after guys and gals do 1 or 2 of those apps, they just kind of get locked into it. It's such an easy and convenient professional way to do business. It saves you missing forms. It saves you missing boxes that lead to delays. And companies basically will process an e-app. Most carriers will begin processing same day. So it gets on their system automatically, it gets in the queue, it gets the suitability call, you set up if there's going to be one needed, and the suitability process, and that happens in 1 day as opposed to the normal 2 to 3 day delay that you see when you send in a paper app. So get your business process quicker as well. But that's enough on that. I want to talk about our advertising team, creative marketing team. Basically, that's what you need to look at them for, is kind of your advertising group. They will come in, they think of them as an advertising firm that specializes in working with financial professionals. They've got a lot of stuff already made and prepared for you. They've got great stuff, and they can give you great ideas about what other producers in the field are using to help build their image. Again, if you have some interest in taking advantage of that, we're going to do most of what we can pro bono on that. We're going to do everything else that we have at cost, and you can use marketing reimbursement for that. So take advantage of the advertising team. Get with your sales director and ask them how you can best advantage that. Retirement Analyzer is a piece of software that we've been using here for about 10 or 11 years now, and we promote the use of it among our producers because it's a very thorough, holistic system that is communicates nicely in very graphic format to your clients, kind of where they sit on their retirement journey. And some of our producers use it religiously. We'll not do without it now. We take care of the cost. If you're doing business with us, we're going to take care of that cost. If you're just deciding whether to do business with us, we'll let you look at it for free for 30 days and try it out. Get with Marcus at iamzinc.com, or give him a call and let him walk you through, get you set up with the login and let him walk you through. And I would suggest that you try it out one on yourself, or try one on one of your A/B clients. Maybe you got all the information in files, so you can put the information in and have a look at what it does. I think you'll be impressed at how that could change your conversation with a lot of your clients. Again, we take care of that cost for you. That's I think probably $70, $80 value per month. So that's a great benefit of being part of the IAMS team. If you haven't considered getting your 65, we can help you with that. IAMS Wealth is a sister company here that can really help you through that process. They worked with a lot of insurance producers, helping them get their Series 65 and walking them through how to transition, not only with the process of the studying and getting you set up and getting you ready to go there, but also the process of working with your clients to kind of introduce that newfound skill and ability to them. So that's of interest to you. I hope you'll let us know. In fact, I'm going to put up a quick poll. I think I have one still for this webinar. I do. If you have interest, as you all know, the DOL is getting ready to kick in earnest here on February 2nd. That's going to require a different kind of a approach to a lot of your clients, where you're going to want to either refer them to a place where they can look at other than insurance and guaranteed sales opportunities, or make that available yourself. And certainly we can assist with both, but I think ongoing, we'd certainly love to see you take on wealth management as part of your business and be able to offer that to your clients directly. It builds value, it increases the client relationship, and makes them a stickier relationship with you, and increases the value of your business, because it's a ongoing income that's generated when you work in that in the wealth management business. As you know, that's a fee-based assistance that you provide, and so it presents opportunity for your clients. It's a little bit different, and it presents an opportunity for your business to have just an ongoing and repeatable income. So strengthens client relationships, is going to help you with that client retention, and going to increase the revenue to your business as well. A lot of advantages to that. If you want to talk to the folks over there, simply just put yes. It's okay if you don't. We work with many folks across the country. The core of our business is working with insurance producers on annuity, life, long-term care, that they don't want to make that part of their business. I understand that completely. But if that's something you have interest in and we can help you with, we'd love to do that. Just put yes on that poll, and we'll get you a 5-7 minute conversation with somebody on the IAMS Wealth Management team. That being said, I'm going to close that poll out. It looks like there might be a few of you that are either unable or have never used the voting feature there. If you would like to have that conversation, you're unable to vote, simply give me a call here at the office, and I'll get a conversation set up with one of the folks over at IAMS Wealth Management. Again, our number here is 800-255-5055. Move on here. So I want to make you all aware of our Top Producer Summit. We're going to be setting sail from Rome on the 28th of August, and we're going to end up back in Venice, Italy on the 4th of September. And you might think, well, that's a lot. That's not a long distance to go in 7 or 8 days. Well, the good news is that we're also going to be stopping along the way at Sorrento and Capri, Italy. We're going to go to Messina, which is actually in Sicily, Corfu, Greece, Kotor, Montenegro, Dubrovnik, Croatia, Zadar, Croatia, and then we're going to end up in Venice, Italy. That's you and your guest. We're going to put you on the concierge level of the ship, which means that not only will you have a balcony to watch the coastlines go by on either side, you'll also have 24/7 access to everything that you could think of to eat and drink. You'll have early on and early off the ship, which is nice. It gets you kind of away from the crowds and gets you aboard the ship a little bit early, and gets you first off the ship as well, which is handy. And then, of course, it's nice to have somebody shining your shoes and pressing your clothes as well. And all of our guests are going to enjoy that. Our top 2 or 3 are going to enjoy an extra level of luxury that may include a 24/7 personal attendant. So we'd love to have you join us on that trip. There's still plenty of time to qualify. Qualification started in December of 2020, but it goes all the way through 2022, and it only requires 4.5 million in points. That's dollar for point for annuity business. You get about 1.5 points for every dollar of single premium life. So you get a little extra credit for there, and you get about 11 or 12 points for every dollar of target premium. Every piece of business you do with IAMS gives you some credit towards qualification for our Top Producers Summit. And we've, like I said, still plenty of time to qualify. We'd love to have you all join us for that trip. It's going to be a great one. So now we're going to spend some time with the coach. The coach is Dave Pimper. He is the principal of Lazarus Coaching. He is also active producer in both insurance products, primarily annuities, a little bit life insurance, some med sup now through a division recently set up. And he obviously offers securities as well as part of his business. Dave has been a top producer with us for about 12 years now. I met him at our top producers cruise to Alaska on the back of the boat. He was smoking a cigar, which is why he was on the back of the boat. I was on the back of the boat for just to get a little extra air one evening, and there he was, and we started chatting. He told me a little bit about his business, and then we started talking a little bit about his coaching. He did some practice development coaching at that time, which he does still for us, but his coaching now is centered more around direct ways to build sales in your business, and that could be around Social Security maximization, could be around retirement accounts or qualified plans, seminars. He also does 8 questions that every retiree needs to answer before retirement seminar. And then he also has Retirement Boss Radio. So a lot of things that Dave has done. It's, I think, important from your perspective. Whoa, hey Dave, your volume is up. Good.
Hey, Steve. I'm sorry. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
I was
doing
just
fine.
letting people know that you're a regular producer yourself and active producer yourself, and very active marketer in your business. So a great mentor to have for folks that are looking to grow their practice in either the straight insurance, annuities and life insurance, or the securities part of their business, or both. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the 40-year veteran in the business now, Dave?
Yeah, it's wild, isn't it? I don't feel that old, but I am.
You don't look that old in that picture.
Well, you know what? That picture is an old picture. We need to get it. The new picture, I look really old, believe me.
Yeah, 40 years in the business, 550 plus seminars, radio for 25, 30 years of radio experience. So really, really pleased to have you aboard with us, Dave. And let's get talking about Social Security maximization.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to see if I can go over and if I have the screen here.
I'm going to give it to you now.
Okay, that sounds beautiful. And
give it
Steve,
a try.
we will be done right at quarter till. So that's when we'll be done with the webinar. Take any last questions. So this is not going to be a long webinar, but hopefully an insightful one, gearing around Social Security maximization. You know, I'm a producer, just like almost everybody on this call with us. We have a lot of folks today with us, but I'm a producer, and the big thing I want to do is get in front of appointments. I want to get that belly-to-belly, face-to-face, and that's where business comes from. And Social Security is one of those topics that not many advisors really understand Social Security claiming. Only about 1 out of every 20 advisor, and I'm talking, it doesn't make a difference whether you're an independent, you're with Edward Jones, you're with Northwestern Mutual, you're with MetLife, you're with Morgan Stanley. It doesn't make a difference. I'll tell you right now, most advisors, financial advisors, CPA, banker, lawyer, really don't have an understanding of Social Security claiming. And because Social Security Administration cannot give you advice, and you did hear that right, Social Security Administration, when you call them, and if you say, hey, I need to get some advice from you, nope, They'll give you facts, what your benefit is right now, but they can't give you advice. Well, we do. And I've made a very good living out of helping people give Social Security advice, which opens up the doors for other assets. If you've got a question during the webinar, certainly type it in and we will answer it for you. So this comes from Sarah O'Brien, who with CNBC, a majority of older Americans get no professional advice about a key part of retirement planning, Social Security, even if they work with a financial advisor, a recent study concluded. And that's true. That's just wild to me, especially if you're working with the pre-retired and just retired like I do. This is a test, and I want you to take it with me. It's a test. And on this test, only 1 in 300 seniors could pass this test. So it's 5 questions. It's going to take about 5 minutes to take. So here we go. Question number 1. The question is to maximize your monthly Social Security checks. At what age must you claim benefits? To maximize your monthly Social Security checks, at what age must you claim benefits? So what's the answer to that? Write down the answer, because here we go. I want to answer it. Here we go. Is it full retirement age? Nope. Is it age 70? Yes, it is. Especially from a single standpoint. Could be a little bit different if it's married or divorced or spousal, but single. Question 2, what's the earliest age you can receive survivor's benefits if you're not disabled? What's the earliest age you can receive survivor's benefits if you're not disabled? So for survivor benefits, what is the age? It is age, write it down, 60. Not 62, 60. Question 3. Does your spouse need to receive benefits for you to qualify for spousal benefits? Does your spouse need to receive benefits for you to qualify for spousal benefits? What do you think? Does your spouse need to receive benefits for you to get spousal benefits? Yeah, you do. 50-50 choice there. Okay, and then our 4th question is, can divorced spouses receive spousal benefits? Can divorced spouses receive spousal benefits? That's the question. Can divorced spouses receive spousal benefits? Yes or no? Here we go. Yeah, they can, but it's if 4 stipulations are met. And of those 4, you've got to guess 2 of them. So what are 2 of the 4 stipulations that have to be met for that divorced spouse? You ready? Well, the first one is your marriage had to last 10 consecutive years before your divorce. 10 consecutive years. Secondly, you are unmarried. Your ex can be married, but you taking the claim has to be unmarried. Thirdly, the ex-spouse is at least 62. And for the 4th point, your divorce had to be at least 2 years ago or longer. If you got 2 of those right, I'm going to give you this answer if you marked yes. And lastly, are you eligible for survivor's benefits if you're divorced? Are you eligible for survivor's benefits if you're divorced? What do you think? Yep. In those same stipulations, I'm not going to go through them. I want to give you that one as a gimme, but the answer is yes. So the question is, how did you do on this quiz of 5 questions? If you got them all right, perfect. I mean, you know your stuff. If you got 4 of them right, you know your stuff. If you got 3 right or less, you probably are just kind of, I know that attitude, I know enough about Social Security maximization to be dangerous. And the reason that that's so true is You shouldn't give out any kind of information unless you actually know that is the answer. And so many people just kind of guess of what to do here. This is taken from Jana Heron from the USA Today article about a couple, 2.5 years ago. It says, doing this one thing with your Social Security could mean losing $100,000 in retirement. That's not a misprint. $100,000. This is bullet point 1. I took this just word for word. How much does claiming Social Security at the wrong time cost you? Bullet point 2. Retirees will lose an average of $111,000 in income per household over their lifetime. Why? Because they took Social Security benefits at the wrong time. And then number 3, bullet point 3, overall, this is a wild statistic. Only 4% of retirees took Social Security at the financially optimal age. And that doesn't always mean wait to 70. There are, with spousal and survivor and divorce, there's different time periods that you can maximize more than just waiting to 70 for both of you. So that's important. So I call this a stroll down Social Security memory lane. Social Security was started in 1935 by Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And Franklin Delano Roosevelt, back then, what happens is that there was no pension plan set up by the U.S. government, and over half the people retired in poverty. And so this was really a huge thing, and it's not just a social program where the government puts in all the money. I mean, you're putting in 6.2%. The government puts in 6.2%. Okay? So it is funded by you and your employer, not by the government. It's run by the government. In the beginning, the only age you could take was 65. And believe it or not, the average age of death in 1935, what was it? 62. Earliest you can take 65, you kick off at 62. How do you like those actuarial odds? But then they changed that. They said you could take as early as reduced at 62, wait as late as 70. That 8-year time period is still in favor today. Cost of living allowance, which by the way went up 5.9% for the year 2022. People are benefiting from that. Highest inflation in 39 years. Highest inflation since 1983. And that was the first time that actually taxation started too, was 1983. Ronald Reagan implemented it. Bill Clinton actually upped it to be up to 85% if your income bracket was high enough, called provisional income. And you'll see different correspondents and FMOs that say that there's big changes every year. Well, with the exception of full retirement age, because that does change each year, with the difference of cost of living, that does change each year. There really isn't major changes, like once every 7 to 10 years. The last major one was the Bipartisan Budget Act of 2015, where they phased out in 6 months, file and suspend. And then they did that in 6 months and restricted application. We're in the 6th of 8 years of phase out, and phased out completely in January the 2nd of 2024. Okay. How important is Social Security? Very. 59% of retirees count on their Social Security benefit to be the major source of income. More than 401ks, more than personal savings. Wild. Yeah, if you just look at Social Security 101, just to kind of keep it simple, what happens is there's 3 important dates or times for Social Security. The first date that you can take Social Security or age is age 62. And at the age of 62, if you took it early at 62, it's going to be discounted somewhere between 25 and 30%. So if you took it at your full retirement age of 66 or 67. If you wait to 70, yeah, it's going to be anywhere between, depending on your age when you're born, but from it could be an increase as high as 24 to 32%, guaranteed by the U.S. government, Social Security Administration. So pretty big deal if you delay to get those delayed retirement credits and a bigger benefit. So the question to ask is, does Social Security have a huge value? Well, I'll say this: claiming at your right time, not the right time or a right time, is so important. Can it have a big value? Yeah, if you claim at your right time. Figure out what's the best for yourself. About $2.9 trillion in the trust fund. The trust fund really only comes into play if there's a deficit in the payroll taxes. That hasn't happened since 1983, but it could happen in the year 2021 because so many people retired because of the pandemic. We'll see. But I think there will be a deficit here in 2021. So will there need to be some changes? Yeah, if we don't, in the year 2034, according to the Social Security Administration, the trustees report, yeah, that this almost $3 trillion would be down to zero, and Social Security Trust Fund would be bankrupt in the year 2024, and then you'd only get a percentage, like between 75 and 80% of your benefit coming in from payroll taxes. Are there ways to firm that up? Sure, there is. But increasing taxes or increasing the ages are two of the most common, and there'll probably be a little bit of both that will come into play to firm up Social Security. So here's some facts about Social Security. Is it a pay-as-you-go system funded mainly by payroll taxes? Yes. Does the U.S. borrow against the bonds that are purchased, the special issue Treasury bonds? Yeah, they issue IOUs. And many people say it's a Ponzi scheme because nothing but the full faith and credit of the United States government backs Social Security claiming. Nothing does. So what happens is that it's not a Ponzi scheme. I'll tell you right now that Social Security is on stable ground. If you think Social Security is a Ponzi scheme because only the IOU of the federal government backs it, then you think that our currency is a Ponzi scheme because what backs the local currency? Does gold? No. Silver? No. Bonds? No. Full faith and credit of the United States government. So Social Security is certainly not a Ponzi scheme. Now, I will say this. Most people don't, advisors who should, if you're working with the pre-retired or just retired, think how big a deal it is to know about Social Security maximization. It's extremely important. Well, what happens here is that there's three ways you can get from us, from Insurance Agency Marketing Services and Dave Pimper being your Social Security coach. Three ways you can get learned up. So backwards term here in Nebraska, but you can be taught Social Security claiming. One is if you do a Social Security seminar, okay? And that Social Security seminar, that is, we're going to increase the way, how much it is. But right now it's $2,500. You're guaranteed 35 people to sign up. 35. And what happens is it's just a complete turnkey system, but I coach you up on Social Security. I coach you up on basically 3 sessions to really understand Social Security. With that, of course, you get the PowerPoints and the language and my help and the help from our office, but you get coached up on Social Security for nothing. IAMS pays me to coach you up. Secondly, Retirement Boss Radio. It's a weekly radio show. We'd like to get between 10 and 15 appointments per month, which we have averaged for years and years and years. I coach you up on Social Security claiming there. And also what happens with Retirement Boss Radio is about 35 or 40% of all of the appointments, the calls that come in, gear around Social Security claiming. There's no charge there. IAMS pays for that. But if you say, hey Dave, I don't want any marketing. I got enough people to talk to. I just want to know the Social Security language and how to really understand it. Yeah. It's $800. You get 4 sessions. I coach you up. You can use me anytime that you want to on all of those marketings. You can use me anytime you want to for questions when concerning around Social Security claiming or finances in general. Pretty cool. No other FMO has that kind of offer. So when you figure out the Social Security benefit, I think one of the most important things is to know it's complicated. They take 40 quarters of coverage. 40 quarters of coverage. And right now, it's $1,510. You make $1,510, what happens is you go in and you've got a quarter of coverage. You need 40 of those guys. The most you can make in any year is 4 quarters, is basically $6,040. If you make that, you get four quarters of coverage. You need 40 to earn a credit. Then it's the earnings over your working career. The more you make, the higher your benefit is, up to a certain amount. This year it's $147,000. You don't put into Social Security, into FICA. You put into part of FICA, but payroll taxes for Social Security claiming. Once you make above $147,000, and then they take your 35 highest inflation adjusted years. So just because, like, I made $18,000 back in 1978. Well, I basically maxed out Social Security. That year's like making 147 now, though it didn't feel like it at the time, but it is in Social Security eyes. So FRA, or full retirement age, yeah, if you're born from 1943 to 1954, your full retirement age is 66. If you're born in 55, like I was, it's 66 years and 2 months. Stair steps up 2 months, up to 1960 or later born. Your full retirement age is 67. A newborn born today, full retirement age is 67. Remember, if you take early, it's discounted. If you take it as early as age 62, which is the earliest you can take it, it's going to be discounted depending on when you're born, between 25 and 30% discount for the rest of your life. But if you wait later than full retirement age, it grows a guaranteed 8%. Which can be a pretty darn big deal when it comes to the paycheck for Social Security. So I'm a believer of everyone listening today that if you understand the individual benefit, which we just went over, the spousal benefit, the divorced spouse benefit, and then also a survivor benefit. If you know those benefits inside and out, you can probably go in and answer 75, 80, even 85% of all the questions can be answered. So now there are always going to be some detours, exceptions to the rule, but in basics, here's how the spousal benefit works. Dave's primary insurance amount, PIA, that's the amount at full retirement age, is $2,400 in this hypothetical illustration. Amy's PIA is $1,000. Dave takes his $2,400. Amy takes her $1,000. Dave gets to keep his $2,400. Amy can either take all of her $1,000 or half of Dave's $2,400, whichever is higher. What's higher? Half of Dave's PIA. $1,200 is higher than $1,000. So in the scenario, Dave would get $2,400, Amy would get $1,200. Pretty cool. It's called a spousal step up. That's how the spousal benefit, and that's done automatically by the government. Then there's a divorced spouse benefit. How does that work? Well, if the marriage lasted for 10 years or longer, remember those 4 stipulations? The receiving spouse is currently unmarried, ex is 62 or older, and the marriage was divorce has been 2 years or longer. If those 4 things line up, you can use your ex, and you can double dip. The spousal ex can use the husband ex can use the wife at the same time, just as if they're still married. Well, what's important about that? I'll tell you what's important about that. Spousals have many more options than singles when it comes to Social Security claiming. In fact, and another just wild statistic, you know how many different um, 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 combinations there are for taking a benefit there is for a married couple? 567. 567 options to taking Social Security claiming if you're married. Wow. That's why it's so important. Survivor benefit. My wife said no one gets out of here alive. Well, physically, that's true. Maybe not spiritually, but physically, that's true. So in this hypothetical scenario, Dave and Amy are both married. We're saying they're both over full retirement age, so there's no discounting. Dave's benefit is $2,000. Amy's benefit is $1,200. Dave dies, and the man dies 75% of the time first. So he dies. Well, Amy now, she can just let that go and keep her $1,200 benefit. She could do that. But she can go and drop her benefit and take Dave's $2,000 benefit. She cannot take both benefits. The person has to be living to take that benefit. So what happens is the best thing she could do is drop her $1,200, jump up $800 to Dave's $2,000 benefit. Tons of people don't do this, or they forget to do it. And you're not going to get a letter by the Social Security Administration that says, "Hey, you're leaving money on the table for us." They don't. You don't get a letter like that. You know why? They'd rather have you not know. And what's really cool about survivor benefits, and this gets more complicated, but file and suspend was phased out in 2016 by the Bipartisan Budget Act of 2015 in 6 months, but it didn't for survivor benefits. So you're able to go in and say take the widow's benefit and then turn yours on at a much bigger amount way down the road, as late as 70, with no discounting. Pretty darn cool. Survivors get more benefit options again than singles do. And then coordinating spousal benefits, last thing, is called restricted application. Now, not as many people can take it now. You got to be born before January 2nd in 1954. So basically got to be 68 years and a month. A little over 68 years of age right now. That's the person taking it. That's not the spouse, just the person taking it. But on a restricted application, all you're doing is you're letting that delayed retirement credit grow. The smaller amount, say it's Amy here, she takes her grand, which she has to do. Dave wants to let his grow the guaranteed 8%, but if he's born before January 2nd or January, if he's born before January 1st of 1954, he can take a spousal benefit also with restricted application. That spousal benefit in this illustration is $500 per month. That $500 per month is absolutely free money. Free money. So you're giving up $6,000 a year, say for 2 years, 24 grand in 2 years you're giving up. That's just free money. Less than 1% of all people this would help that could apply do. Why? They don't know about it. So the question is, what can the Social Security personnel, what can they do? What can't they do when you either go in, and it's tough right now because of the pandemic, but whether it be by phone or it's in the internet, but they can't give you advice. That's the interesting thing. When I got into this business, I've been in the business for 40 years, since 1981, but the Social Security business for 11 years now. And before I got in, I called my CPA, my lawyer, and my banker, all in their 60s or late 50s. And I asked them, if people want advice on Social Security, do you do it, or do you refer them out? Because I wanted to see if they could refer it to me, which many have. But each one of them said, no, we refer out to the Social Security Administration. They can't give advice. Give your highest benefit right now. In fact, I was really excited when I found this on the internet from their Program Operational Manual Systems. That's their guide. It says D, provide enough information so that claimants can make informed choices, but do not give advice. Pretty interesting. Do not give advice. Who gives advice? We do. I'll tell you right now, if you don't really understand Social Security, what a great way. I mean, IAMS is paying for you to learn Social Security because they know it can make that much of a difference on your production. IAMS doesn't make the FMO makes no money unless you produce and run it through them. But I'll tell you right now, I get a lot of business. I just did over $1 million from Retirement Boss Radio for a person out of state that they listened and they called me and they had questions on Social Security, and before you knew it, they had invested just shy of $1 million with me. And it was only because I knew Social Security claiming, and that's what they really wanted in the beginning. But then we worked with their investments. So consider all your income streams before you go in and claim Social Security. So, and I'm going to read those because that's how important they are. Social Security is not a standalone income stream, period. Social Security is the most flexible of the income streams, claiming at your right time, not the right time. Don't forget about the survivor benefit. Those are the pillars of income: wages, pensions, income producing assets, RMDs on traditionals, and Social Security. What's the money maker there? Number 3. I uncover every income producing asset: 401ks, IRAs, Roth IRAs, rental property, cash life insurance, brokerage accounts, bank accounts. Yeah. And I do lots of rollover 401k and IRA business from knowing Social Security. Yeah, just when to claim, all different kind of benefits, lots to consider before you claim. Remember, I talked about those 3 ways: seminar marketing. Yeah, you learn Social Security, insurance agency marketing pays me to coach you. Retirement Boss Radio doesn't cost you a thing to learn Social Security. It's in that system, or 4 coaching sessions, for $800. I'll just coach you a la carte and use me whenever you want to. So as we're finishing on up here, there's an old line that says, "Procrastination is my sin. It brings me constant sorrow. I really shouldn't practice it. Perhaps I'll stop." Well, I'll tell you right now, procrastination is an easy thing to do. And the reason I bring up this slide with kind of that lyric is that we're going to put up a poll. And if you'd like to get more information on how maybe Social Security could really charge up the production for yourself or in your office, if you mark yes, then we will give you a call here today and line up a good time with myself and yourself on the phone. You're not talking to one of my proteges or one of my associates. It's myself. But if you've never thought about if you're working the pre-retired or just retired crowd, or you're ever getting questions about Social Security and don't know the answer, today's the time to stop that. Let's go in where I can teach you. That's that old thing about fishing. I can give you a fish, or I can teach you to fish. And you can go in and keep buying your fish, but when you get taught how to fish, when you get taught Social Security claiming, I think you'll see a huge impact to your bottom line. Steve, I'm going to hand it over. I know there were some questions that came in, and then we will call it a show here after we answer those in the next 5 or 10 minutes.
Perfect. Thank you, Dave. It looks like the first question is for me. The question is, can you use marketing reimbursement dollars to pay for coaching? I don't know that we've ever addressed that before, but I'm perfectly fine with that. If you've got some marketing reimbursement that you want to apply towards coaching, there's no reason why we can't do that. Certainly, if you want to do, Dave mentioned, the seminar opportunity. If you want to apply marketing reimbursement towards a seminar, obviously that would be fine to do that as well. Or radio. I would say any of Dave's services, you can use marketing reimbursement to help pay for those. So I guess the short answer is yes. Yeah, we'd love to help you there.
Absolutely. You bet.
Yeah. The next question is a long question, Dave, and it's so for the spousal benefit, I'm going to read this to you because I'm not sure I could answer it. So for the spousal benefit, if the primary wage earning spouse waits to begin taking their retirement benefit, will the spousal benefit also go up for each year the spouse waits beyond FRA, or is it always based upon the primary spouse's FRA amount?
Yeah, and the answer on that is it's the dollar amount. So let's just say one is $2,000 and one is $1,000. So say the primary is 2,000, and then the spousal is the secondary income is 1,000, 2,000. So remember, the secondary can get all of theirs or half of the bigger one. Well, it's a wash. So what happens is if it's $1,200 in 2,000 and they both are delayed, then both of them get the delayed retirement credits. They both increase. So what happens if the other one was $200? Well, then of course it wouldn't make any difference on their own, but you cannot on the delayed retirement credits at full retirement age or longer. Spousal credits do not apply to delayed retirement credits. So there's no reason to wait. If you're a spouse and your earnings for Social Security is half of what the primary is, or less than half, there's no reason for you not to take that benefit at your full retirement age. And the reason for that is because you can't get delayed retirement credits by waiting. So there's a couple three spinning plates, Steve, that gets a little bit complicated, but that's kind of how what the correct answer on that is.
Perfect. Well, and certainly if you want to have a longer conversation with Dave about some of those, but check yes on that poll. I think people are engrossed by the answers and forgetting to look at the poll at all. So take a quick peek at that. If you want to spend a few minutes with Dave and talk about any aspect of Social Security claiming, whether it's training, whether it's seminars, whether it's radio and how that works, if you want to have a conversation with Dave, by all means, check yes on that poll. If you just have questions in general, for instance, about what you're doing marketing wise or practice management in general, that would be also a good reason to have a conversation with Dave. As I mentioned at the outset, Dave has been in the business for just a little bit over 40 years now. And I would say that one thing about Dave that's different from most producers that we work with on a regular basis is the amount of time and effort and results that he produces with all-out marketing efforts. I had this conversation, Dave, with one of our guys. He said, Steve, if I could just get in front of enough people at almost any cost in our business, it would make a lot of sense for me to do that, because we were talking about an opportunity that we had where an annuity lead vendor was looking to potentially have a cost of like $400 or $500 per appointment. He said, well, I might pay that if they're good leads. And then we started talking about the fact, on your average day right now, Dave, how many appointments do you have? Average day, Monday through Friday.
Yeah, four on an average day. Yeah. But what happens is an ideal day for me is 2 to 3 appointments, but because it's just a lot to have 4 appointments in a day's time. It really is. I mean, because you're doing all of your calling, your client calling, you're doing. I don't do much service work because I got good administrators, but it just takes a lot of time. And each one of those appointments have a minimum of an hour, and then you've got the follow up, and I write all my notes and so forth. But as you know, Steve, I mean, if I'm not busy, I'm not making. Here's what happens. People get sometimes confused about, hey, I've just been so busy. Well, busy doesn't make you money. Being productive makes you money. Busy is on the internet searching for things for personal use. You can be really, really busy not making any money. How you make money is by getting in front of appointments. And that's what seminar marketing, that's what Retirement Boss radio marketing, that's understanding Social Security. I mean, I got an appointment tomorrow, and it's with one of my clients, and I got part of their money, but they called me because they're going to be retiring and wanted to know, when I thought the best time they should take Social Security. And then the subtitle to this was, by the way, also what to do with our 401k funds. Well, do we make any money talking about Social Security? No. How about the 401k funds? Ooh, yes.
Potentially.
And
yeah.
that's where it is. Absolutely. Yep.
You made mention that you were dealing with someone out of state. So I think the question is how many stations you're on, because they thought that maybe you were on stations in multiple states. So walk
No.
through how that happened, where you had a client from other than Nebraska that you had this conversation with about.
Down in Texas, his wife's a dog groomer, and he's an exec. He's an exec with the national firm, a field vice president, does very well financially. His wife said, "Hey, I caught about 15 minutes of this guy named Dave Pimper." She was streaming financial shows, and it just came on up, and so was KFAB, and she heard about 15 minutes of it. He was there the next week. They listened to all of it. He calls me up. And I said, "How the heck a lot of times people will be driving through?" He said, "No, my wife's a dog groomer, and she likes listening to financial shows." And she was very impressed, and so am I. Yeah, 2 months later, we did over $900,000 with them. How about
Mhm.
that? That's
Yeah.
fun. Now, is that the norm, Steve? No,
Yeah.
that's not the norm. But when it happens, you'll take it. And the
Yep.
guy's as nice as possibly could be, and I got a really good plan, and he wanted some guarantees, and it really worked out well, and worked out good for IAMS too, because part of that business ran through IAMS. Absolutely.
And we appreciate that. So I think there's maybe a little confusion about what happens on the radio. So the question was appointments, question mark, from radio, question mark. So did you walk through, Dave? I stepped out for a little bit there. Did you walk through how that happens, that you get appointments from your radio show? Because I don't know.
I did not. I did
Okay.
not. No. And I'll do this. Yeah. So radio is recorded. It's an hour show. We record for half an hour. We do a repeat show for a half an hour. And it really works out well. It keeps down our production costs, keeps down the time that you've got to go in and record yourself. But when people call in through a real an offer that is kind of the irresistible offer, and they call in, it goes into a live inbound high touch call center, and they set the appointments. And we do it through an electronic calendar that we have and that the call center has. And so what happens is that it just they basically are made right there on the spot. And our goal is to get at least 10 appointments a month. That's what we'd like to do. We've averaged more than that, but we'd like to get at least 10 appointments a month.
From radio.
And radio, that's right. And I'll tell you right now, radio's going to run, depending, but all in cost, $3,000 to $4,000 a month. That's about what it's going to cost you. But I'll tell you, there's no doubt whatsoever that a lot of people, they just discount radio because they think it's going to be too expensive.
Yeah, I think that they get the challenge. I don't. Based on this comment here, I think that a lot of people understand the opportunity to actually get appointments. They think of radio as a image building, and so talk. And we should let people. And I'm going to send this around. I'm going to send you retirementbossradio.com. That's the website you can go to, and there's some podcasts on there. You can actually hear how that happens. But you do a call to action that you would normally do right before you say, "Hey." If you have any questions, what's a call to action that you might have around Social Security on your radio show?
Yeah, we have some different kind of offers at the end. So it says, a call to action might be, and I'm going to read this just like I do. I say, so if you call during the show and you're one of the next 5 callers, what we're going to do is offer you, it's a complimentary financial review of your entire financial retirement plan. What we found is that most people don't really have a true understanding of these 3 basic things. And then we go through 1, 2. The third one is, and a lot of folks, they just don't really understand the steps to maximize their Social Security income. So what we're going to do is sit down with you and help you understand these 3 important but many times misunderstood issues. So that gives you a feeling of kind of how that offer. I'll tell you what, our offer, that offer call to action, I thought it was kind of hokey the first 5 callers, but you know what? Phone rings.
Yeah.
The phone rings, and I'm not recreating this. This came from people doing it thousands and thousands, and I tweak that offer a little bit, but it's just it's a turnkey. Both our seminar system and Retirement Boss Radio, being your own radio host, is a turnkey system.
And I think it's important to note that most of the cost for radio is in the radio time. So on average, Dave, like I know what you spend on your radio time is probably somewhere in the high 4,000s because you're
Yeah, it
on
is.
2
Yeah,
local stations.
right.
And your total cost for radio, and that includes the production and everything that needs to be done, is probably it's still less than $5,000.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I mean, it's
which is very reasonable.
Very reasonable. We do, of course, take care of we work with Dave on the costs of the actual training that goes around that, and that includes the Social Security training that you need, whether you're doing radio or seminars. And if you just want the standalone training and you want to get that and use your marketing reimbursement for that, we would certainly be glad to offer that as well. I think Social Security claiming expertise and knowledge is what we have found one of the most intriguing pieces of information to the folks that you want to talk to, which is that 55, 60-year-old individual. I mean, that's kind of the sweet spot, and they're very interested in that. So if that's something you want to take advantage of to help grow your business, this is a great way to do that. Not only is Dave available for the training, he'll give you that training as part of the Retirement Boss Radio or as part of seminar training, but if you want us to take that standalone, we'll help pay for that. And once you do that, then you've got access to Dave, which is handy. There's not a lot of questions that you can stump Dave on now because he's been doing it for so long. And even if he does get stumped and has to reach out to somebody, he's got a couple of resources to do that to get you the right answer. So very, very beneficial opportunity for you. I hope you take advantage of it. I don't see, anything you want to say as we finish up here, Dave? I got to make sure there's no more questions real quick.
Hey, well, thank you very much for attending today. I'm looking forward. Hopefully you marked yes and we can talk. And believe me, this is not a big sell job. This is just educating you up on maybe how Social Security can help your business. If you've ever thought I should really learn Social Security, what a great opportunity to get it right now.
Yeah, that's no doubt. I personally, I think Dave is probably, in terms of training for Social Security, the best that we have available in the industry right now. And then when you couple that with how that dovetails with ways to meet new folks regarding Social Security claiming, which is a great way to do it right now. It's an unbeatable offer, and it's one of the reasons that we support it so heavily here at IAMS, because there's just so much opportunity around that right now. And the good news is that despite everything that we're seeing on the news, people are willing to come and sit down in a seminar setting. I think there's so much pent up need for information that they're willing to come and sit down in a seminar setting. And part of the reason that Dave has had such a good look at radio, it's got to be Dave. I mean, that the inability of people to maybe, or unwillingness at times for people to sit down. I mean, radio is super effective right now. So the timing is perfect for you if you want to do that. And here we are at the start of a year, and if you're looking for ways to grow your business, no better time to do it. I see there's still some folks, about the same percentage of folks haven't voted, so maybe there's a reason for that. If that reason is that you're unable to, just give me a call here at the office, or call and ask for Brady here at the office, and he'll get some time set up for you to spend some time with Dave. Just ask for Steve or Brady, and we'll help you with that. Number is 800-255-5055. Call on in. I'd love to chat with you. I think that's all that we have for the day. I'm going to close this poll out. Oh, okay. Somebody else wanted to vote. I'm going to close out. Thank you all for joining us. We know that there's a lot happening on a Tuesday morning as the year gets started. So thanks for giving us a few minutes of your time. We want to be your outlet and be your safety zone for all the help that you need to grow your business. So give us a call at 800-255-5055, and look forward to a great sales week for you. Thank you, everybody.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Bye now.